Hello everyone, it's George from Ireland, but welcome back to my channel. There's been the news article in several publications for the last few days. It's been reported that an Irish passport was calculated to be the world's most powerful, gaining us visa-free access to the most countries. The thing is, we have no enemies. Like even loyalists in Northern Ireland, and they're Irish, though in denial about it, they're not against the Republic of Ireland anymore. So it's magnificent. Now, we don't fight against other countries, partly because we don't have the military capability to do so, but managed to run diplomacy such that don't get into these wars. Sometimes express opinions here and there. I remember Bertie Ahern, who was the Taoiseach Prime Minister, if you're not Irish, way back in 2003, and he publicly said, "Yes, of course, we support the United States in its liberation of Iraq." Didn't militarily support it, but simply vocally. And then a few months later saying, "No, no, no, I never said that." So he was just an absolute Pinocchio. What? But although Pinocchio nose would look better than the sort of potato nose that he had. So that's it. We're marvelous. We are a cultural superpower. Now, obviously, the Republic of Ireland acceded to the European Union, or sorry, as it then was, the European Economic Community on New Year's Day, 1973, the very same day as the Denmark and the United Kingdom. And the EEC 20 years later transmogrified into the European Union. And then so Irish citizens were also European citizens, and that adds to and does not replace national citizenship. Therefore, we've got the right to live and work in any European Union country. Now, you can be kicked out. Take Geert Wilders, a Dutch politician, leader of, I think, at the time, the second most popular party in the Netherlands, and he was kicked out of the United Kingdom for trying to exercise his rights there. But yeah, generally speaking, you can go anywhere you want in the European Union. When I worked in Romania, I had to go to one government office, fill out some forms, come back in an hour, and that was all sorted. Could stay in Romania for life, just to register as a resident. So unless you commit a very very serious crime, you can't be deported. You have to go there to work, but job seekers are counted as workers, even though they haven't found work for a few months, and so on. See, COVID that was a bit restricted. So we can go to go without a visa or get a visa on arrival for well over 100 countries. That includes the United States, Australia, Canada, Japan. So there's the Henley Passport Index. Usually is now rating us the top. If we weren't the top, we're usually in the top five. So under the 27 European Union countries, including the Irish Republic, but some non-EU countries like Norway and Switzerland have an agreement whereby European citizens can reside and work there. Likewise, the Norwegians and the Swiss can live and work anywhere in the European Union and retire and stay to the day you die. Now, the Republic of Ireland is the only other country that doesn't need a visa. Irish citizens, we can go to the United Kingdom, live there, and that's it. And I think that's there's complementarity to that one, or should I say maybe mutuality. British citizens are permitted to reside in the Republic of Ireland and live there, and so on, going for study as well. So there's a common travel area between the United Kingdom and the Irish Republic. That's even after Brexit. So people got a very good reputation. We also give citizenship to anyone who's got so much as one grandparent born anywhere in Ireland, and that includes Northern Ireland, which I think is good. After the credit crunch in 2008, I thought one of the obvious things is maybe go a generation further, give it to someone with one great grandparent born in Ireland. So you might only be 1/8 Irish, and I've grown up in New Zealand, be apart from that Maori and English and Chinese and whatever, never been to Ireland or what things like that. But would that be fine? I mean, I'll be okay with that. Just like the rugby rule, you can play for our rugby team. I don't know if you had to be a citizen, but if you had one parent, so one grandparent born there. So yeah, we tend not to get kidnapped. Now the thing is, a lot of people are dual citizens, Irish and British, or indeed there was that guy Michael Whelan who was effectively legally kidnapped in Russia, given a long sentence supposedly for espionage, released as part of a prisoner swap, and he was Canadian, American, Irish, and British, a citizen of 4 countries. Extraordinary. So when you're there solely as Irish, you tend not to be taken hostage. And so Ken Bigley was Irish and British, a hostage in Iraq, and he was made a head shorter. But usually we are set at liberty. A cultural superpower. I coined the phrase. Hasn't really caught on. Known for our films, our music, dancing, river dance. I don't think any other sorts of terpsichoreanism. The Rose of Tree Festival, films, producing magnificent actors, actresses. Don't know about choreographers, but not so hot on the classical music. There was Misa Air. I can't even remember who composed it. Visual arts to some extent, poets in the English language like Seamus Heaney or W.B. Yeats. Yeats, I don't like his oeuvre, should I pronounce it? Whereas the other chap, Heaney, fairly high opinion of him. So, an island of saints and scholars. And, a few generations ago would have included missionaries, archbishops in Africa, in Latin America, and Asia, and so on. We tend not to export so many clergy. We have scarcely enough for ourselves these days. We yet to have the first Irish Pope. And fantastic at sports, rugby in particular, well, golf, Rory McIlroy, motor racing. You see Eddie Irvine, he's Northern Irish, but yeah, that's still Irish. We're an Irish citizen if he wants to or not. So lots of advantages. So the United Kingdom doesn't have this right to live and work in the European Union. Could have it, despite being outside the European Union, if the UK were willing to go along with the same thing that the Norwegians and the Swiss had agreed to, which is to say that European citizens be allowed to live and work in the United Kingdom, study, retire without having to gain a visa. And there would be reciprocity within this agreement, but the United Kingdom has not gone for it, partly because perhaps the chief motive for Brexit was to limit immigration to within to a reasonable level. So that's one of the great things about Irish citizenship, and obviously you've got prosperous since the millennium, people who are Canadian Irish, American Irish, Australian Irish, or whatever, moving in. So British people who are also Irish were very eagerly claiming Irish citizenship after Brexit like that. Even some unionists in Northern Ireland, because of the greater freedom of travel it affords to them. So yeah, we're not perceived as being hostile. But, because we're part of the European Union, we are sanctioning Russia and Belarus and so on. We are funding Ukraine. And if we give them the armaments, we'd have scarcely enough arms for ourselves. The Irish Naval Services participate in anti-piracy patrols in the Red Sea and so on. What else? Part of Partnership for Peace, supposedly neutral, but the Partnership for Peace has undermined that. The European Union building its own defence identity. So I think our Irish military neutrality is a lie in the last few years. Even the US Air Force was allowed to land at Shannon and refuel on missions, I think, to bomb Iraq. So it wasn't really neutral. But nevertheless, that wasn't held against us. I mean, there are some benefits to neutrality. At the moment, very few people want to join NATO, and we might be seen as a liability because our defense capacity is so low. We need to build up the armed forces. Well, thank you for watching the channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Goodbye.